everyone, it's Colleen, your Adult Services Librarian here at the Shelby County Public Library, and today I'm doing a book talk on books that take place during one day. Coming up in June, on June 16th, is going to be Bloomsday. That is the day that the novel Ulysses takes place, and all the events of that book take place in one day. I thought I'd like to spotlight a couple of other books that take place in one day if you're interested, and also reading a couple other books that kind of utilize that technique as well. The first book I want to talk about is kind of an obvious pick, and it is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. It's kind of an obvious pick because this was released around the same time as Ulysses, and it is a lot shorter than it, as you can see. And it is about the story of a woman, Mrs. Dalloway, who is planning a party for her friends. But it also goes back and forth in time, kind of showing her memories as well. It also follows Septimus Heap, who is a soldier who had returned from World War I and is having a hard time adjusting back to life now as a civilian. It seems both very heady and not so heady book, dealing with a party and then also the PTSD of a soldier, but they kind of blend well together and kind of showing just how one day in the life of these two humans kind of comes together and falls apart, and how their experiences are the same and different. It's one of my favorite books, and I recommend it. The next one I want to recommend is Raintree County by Ross Lockridge Jr. If you read anything during the Indiana Bicentennial about authors in Indiana, you probably read this book. This book is very long. It's about 1,000 pages, and it takes place during the 1870s, following the life of one man, Johnny Shaughnessy, and his celebrations during the 4th of July. And it cuts back in time also with his life growing up in Raintree County, which is a fictional county in Indiana, and also his time during the Civil War leading up to this day and time. It is quite an adventure of a book, considering how long it is, and also the different types of writing Lockridge uses. So it's not for the faint of heart, but for the very adventurous reader. So if you're looking for something to really challenge you, I recommend this book. And the final book I want to talk about is Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk by Kathleen Rooney. This is a little bit more lighter-hearted than the other ones that I mentioned. This follows a woman, Lillian Boxfish, and it takes place in the 1980s on New Year's Eve, and she lives in New York City, and she used to be an editor for a publisher, and she basically spends the day walking around New York City contemplating the choices of her career and life, and also what it means to be a New Yorker in the early 80s with the AIDS crisis. It's not as adventurous or dense as the first two, but it still kind of gives you the same feel of living in the present moment of a day, but also living back in your memories as well. It's kind of one of the interesting things about reading books that take place during a day, is that it is both keeping you in the present moment, but also letting you see a whole life in the past and kind of living in the past and how big that is. So those are my picks for this week. I hope you guys really enjoyed them, and I will see you next week. Bye.